for yourself.
Okay, you're right.
Good evening, I'm Mayor Pam Panzavec, the chairperson of the Glen Cove Industrial Development Agency and Local Economic Assistance Corporation. It is Thursday, March 13th, and we are holding tonight's special board meeting at Glen City Hall in the second floor conference room. This meeting is also being live streamed and recorded. Let us call the meeting to order at 5:31 p.m. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Lisa Travatello.
Here.
Tom Scott.
Here.
Dave Jimenez.
Here.
Jim Capiello.
Here.
Vice Chair Hartley.
Here.
And Chairperson Hanson.
I'm here, everybody's here,
John Fielding regrets he was unable to make
just that everybody's here. Okay. I make a motion to approve the minutes of the IDA LEAC meeting held on February 25th, 2025, and I ask for a second.
Second.
Motion seconded by Lisa Travatello. Are there any questions? Will the secretary please poll the board?
Lisa Travatello.
Aye.
Tom Scott.
Yes.
Dave Jimenez.
Aye.
Jim Capiello.
Aye.
Vice Chair Hartley.
Approved of this.
And Chairperson Hanson.
I vote aye. So that motion was carried. We have two unfinished business matters on the agenda this evening. 115 Glen Street Property Owner LLC, an update on the Glen Cove Villas. Will Millen Tyler and/or Ann Fangman please provide the members with an update on these matters?
This will just start with the villas quickly.
Sure.
And if there's further discussion, we can kind of leave it to the end of the meeting. We did receive an update that the lien was settled and paid because the land loan, bridge loan closed. So those are the two major updates. I believe Georgia Green has executed an advisory role agreement with the Doge. They're reviewing the IDA application together.
I think that's it.
Okay.
And unless anyone advises me otherwise, the 30-day default notice comes up on Monday. So as of Monday, there will be an event of default allowing us to terminate. Your previous instructions to me were to terminate this matter, wait until they really have all their ducks lined up, including financing, then and only then would you think about reapproving new benefits. And if there's anyone else who thinks that, you should tell me something else because they've now closed the bridge loan, which again, they were supposed to do by January 5th, and they just now closed it. But if anyone wants to reverse themselves, okay, that's the update. I will take care of that next week in terms of terminating the existing arrangement, and I will tell their counsel, Dan, advance firm. Okay, that's the update.
I have a quick question. I've asked this question many times and I still haven't gotten an answer. Has the IDA board been released from the mechanics lien?
Yes,
Yes.
officially,
Yes.
as of our last update. That
Yes.
was part of the land bridge loan closing. That was funded and now is settled.
Thank you.
Yes. But that was the most recent update.
They are slow, but there has been some progress. 115 Glen Street Property Owner LLC. Do we have an update on that, or is tonight the update? This is it, right?
When we met the last time, we went over the financial assistance application in some detail. There was a letter response submitted by the applicant's attorney, which responded to the questions that were brought up during the last discussion at our last IDA meeting. Kevin Grimm was here with Grow America to go through his presentation and a summary of the cost-benefit analysis, if you will, and the financial benefits. A consent resolution has been circulated to the board for review. It has some tweaks from the resolution that the board did not have a chance to review at the prior meeting.
Okay. So resolution 5A, resolution of the Glen Cove IDA taking official action toward and approving the acquisition and straight leasing of a certain project for 115 Glen Street Property Owner LLC. Does anybody need clarification as to what that actually is? May I have a second to adopt resolution 5A?
Second.
Motion seconded by Vince Hartley. Will the secretary please poll the board?
Lisa Travatello,
I vote aye.
Tom Scott,
No.
Dave Jimenez,
No.
John Feely's absent, Jim Capiello,
I vote no.
Vice Chair Hartley,
I vote no.
and Chairperson Hanselman.
I vote no. Motion not carried. And then, so we have new business. And I believe this evening's new business is Garvey's Blockette, request for IDA consent. And I make a motion this time to table that until we get more information. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
well, I guess the question is there anything we can do? Is there something you're looking for a change? Because this project can't happen without this. I mean, I'm really blindsided. I really thought some questions were raised and concerns at the time of the last meeting. I thought the answers were very compelling. They were all taken really from the IDA's own consultants as to what the benefits of the project were and why the project can't work without this, and how this project is consistent with the city's own plan. So I don't know if is there something, some tweak that anybody's looking for, or some change that would make this successful, because you know, it's a tremendous blow for us. I mean, we've been for over 11 years on this. The city's approved the project itself, and it doesn't work financially according to your own consultant without this. So obviously, you know, now the seniors aren't gonna have any parking. You know, the senior parking table doesn't go forward, this project doesn't go forward, now it's a closed off property. So it's exacerbating the problems that I thought we were all trying to solve.
It's just really only going to generate one job.
No, your own report said that's not the case.
No, but it's really going to generate, in the end of it, one full-time job. It's really only 29 apartments. And we just don't feel that it's worthy of a pilot at that level. I mean, I don't know what other people feel, you know.
I'll just add to that, you know, speaking for myself, I was very mindful about weighing the benefits of the project to the community versus the cost. And for me, it just didn't add up as a good investment on the city's part.
But did you look at we summarized the MRB report, which is your consultant's report, saying here are the benefits. And I mean, the number is, you know, the savings that we realized is only about $2.something million. The benefits are 2.3 million, 6.3 million, 1.4 million, 1.7 million, plus the fees. Senior citizen parking center, the elimination of the slope, I mean, there's all these benefits, plus this is what's called for in the downtown. And this is what your own plan, this is why these guys came to the city, is because your plan called for this kind of housing in the downtown. And your UTEP calls for giving it benefits. And your own consultants say it can't work without the benefits, and these benefits are necessary. And your other consultant says this has a tremendous financial positive on the city that far outweigh the cost of the city.
Well, I don't agree with that. But then, just to counter what you said, you know, the mission of the IDA is to help grow the local economy and to create jobs, which, again, in my opinion, this project doesn't do.
But it's the
And
purchase.
I'm not talking about, you know, temporary construction jobs. I'm talking about full-time gainful employment.
But no one's gonna put a factory on that site. You know, the idea is that you have apartments and people spend money in the community. You know, that's the economic benefit that your consultants came up with, and we know that to be the case. I mean, you know, I would just ask if, you know, if there's some change that we could make, that we could reconsider and come back at the next meeting. This is not happening without it yet. Something has to happen, something has to give to it. Otherwise, it's not happening. And there's also elimination of blight. This has been a blighted site forever over there. It's the senior parking. I don't know what seniors are gonna say when we have to move the parking out of there. You know, everyone's so concerned. We put so many times out, hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions at this point, with everything, to get to this point. And now to put a shovel in to close it off and say, the seniors gotta get out, no taxes to the city, no development, no beautification in that area, which is now an ugly, that end of town is ugly. It's got a vacant thing. It's not gonna be fixed without this IDA board giving something to private. And that's what
Why,
the consultants all
why
say.
do you say that the seniors are gonna lose their parking?
Because they have no legal right, that's a private piece of property. Unless the city buys the property, they're out of there. It's not in our interest to rent out 13 spots.
You don't own the property.
We're a contract owner,
You don't own it.
so we have to close, otherwise we're losing all our money.
Well, if you don't get financial assistance, you're gonna close on the property?
That has to be determined, I guess. But that's, certainly just one way or the other, seniors aren't gonna be there.
So you are gonna move forward without
Not on the
the
project,
IGA
but we're not,
support?
the seniors are not gonna be able to park
With
there.
the construction though?
The project does not go forward, the seniors are not staying there. It's not an economic use of the property. That's not a threat, that's just reality. That's not a future of that property, it's not gonna have 15 parking spots on it. So that's gonna be closed off for senior parking going forward.
Well, I disagree with that statement.
Well, we control it. We're telling
You
you,
don't control, you don't own the property. What do you mean you control it?
we're in contract by the property the last 10 or 11 years.
Well, you haven't bought it.
So we have possession rights, we have the right to control the property. I'm just saying, this is not the way, it's gonna exacerbate the problem there. We are so, one of the questions was why, if you knew what you do now, today, we can go forward with this project. The answer was absolutely no. We're sunk into this for 11 years with the time, cost, and everything else. That's why we're at a crossroads. We're actually at that end right now. We've got to figure out something else to do with this property. We can't just walk away from all the money that's been there. There has to be some economic use of the property. It's certainly not to be parking for the senior center. This was a way to have, to check off every box that the city and planners of the city comprehensive plan and the ideas you took calls for. We checked off every box. Honestly, I did this around Long Island. These guys, I've never seen anything like this in terms of the effort and the time, money, and where this has gone. How do we recognize? Alec, point
Sure.
things.
Of course you can.
Well, thank you. Thank you for hearing me. It was a shock to me, and in answer to your question, it doesn't, and Mr. Jimenez asked the question, how does it even make sense? So with $10,000 per unit, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't pencil out. And the only way to give the economic benefit to the city that you're looking for in your comprehensive plan that talks about achieving goals of economic growth through smart, sustainable housing development. That's a quote from your comprehensive plan. And with taxes at $10,800 estimated for an apartment, a studio apartment, or a one-bedroom apartment, it doesn't pencil, it doesn't work. And I disagree with you in the sense that yes, it's true, one permanent job, but construction jobs. But what this is, and what Patrick has recognized in other communities, and you can buy into it or not, is that the economic benefit of new people living in your community, particularly at that end of town, which is the gateway, creates an economic boom to the city. Yeah, 29 apartments is not a big deal. And so therefore maybe the pilot is not that big a deal to the city. But that's really, it's not about job creation. We're not building a factory. Residential housing projects by their nature don't create jobs. They do create construction jobs that support delis and businesses and everything else around town. And maybe local contractors, Macaron supported the development as a potential contractor of ours. It meets the UTEP, and it's really about the further economic benefit of 29 or 50 brand new people living in your community with a 20% affordable component and the senior center and the slope. That's really where the benefit is, not in job creation. Right? Because again, residential projects by their nature don't create permanent jobs. What they do is they create an economic engine that supports the growth of your downtown. You look at Patchogue, you look at Mignole, and West right now, that's what's happening in these communities. And all of them are receiving pilot support to help us do that. And we're not getting a tax benefit, in answer to one of your comments last week. We're creating the taxes. The tax benefit right now is $17,000 a year. That's nothing. I mean, something. But, we're creating millions of dollars of taxes with no impact on services to the community. Yes, maybe the police and the ambulance, et cetera. But we're picking up our own trash, we're plowing our own snow. We have parking, so we're not interfering with any parking on the road. So I think it's, listen, obviously, I have a lot of money and time invested in this. But I think it's really a missed opportunity for the city to show the building community that you're serious about it, and that it's a good project. It's passed everything in all these years to get to this point, and this is really just the last bit of the puzzle to make it financeable and make it a reality. So I think your UTEP, your mission statement, your comprehensive plan all support this. And if the IDA's sole goal is to create jobs, well, I submit to you other residential projects that you have supported. What's their permanent job creation? Again, the residential projects don't produce jobs. They produce economic benefit and increase taxes for the city that is currently not being realized on that piece of property. I don't know what else I can say.
Yeah, an indirect job. So what I'm saying, the other thing that's kind of disappointing from our perspective is that we've gone through quite the process here. And Tom, I think you said last meeting that you thought it was a good project, you'd like to see it happen. I heard that. This can't happen. I thought you said something.
You did say it.
Yeah,
On the video,
on the video,
your quarters.
we were encouraged, honestly. I've never been to a situation where we get to the last minute like this and we're told no. I mean, it would have been good just in terms of the operation of the IDA. There's some other ways to communicate it through the executive director of the council. We should not be totally blindsided right now. I can't even believe it. We're coming here and getting this result. But I'm hoping that we're going to be able to establish something here.
But we have a housing crisis on Long Island, and I think that this is creating housing. It's not a lot, which is, we right-sized it based on what we went through. You are going to attract younger people. It's a different rental structure than anything else you have in this town. We have the financing, we have the capacity to do the financing to get it built, so you're not going to be stuck with it. And I think it does show good effort, and I think you'll bring in really fine people into the downtown, or maybe someone who lives here is going to sell their house as the kids are gone, and then they want to, downsize. It's fully amenitized, stainless steel appliances, roof deck. It's got all the amenities that you should want, washer, dryer, etc. But at 10,000 plus in real estate taxes, Mr. Jimenez, there is no way that this can make sense to a lender or further equity investors. So yes, solving the senior problem, helping to solve the senior problem was something that was important. We worked hard to do that. You saw Christine Rice was in here supporting the project, supporting the 13.
So the seniors are going to get their work. I mean, that's what I don't understand. I thought that was so important. We spent so much time on that development.
Well, as a right development would certainly not participate in helping the seniors. There's no obligation to do that. But we don't want to trash the project. We really think that it's a tremendous benefit to the city. And it's not about a one job creation. It's about creating millions of dollars in real estate taxes for the city in perpetuity.
And spreading it in the downtown and the community. So
That's supporting the downtown. It's the economic benefit for the downtown, for the retailers who will hire more people or open more stores. That is the goal, the thought of your comp plan and detail.
That's the goal, but in reality, it doesn't work that way. I mean, as you know, I was chair of the planning board for many, many years, probably too many. But you take this project right across the street, which is one of the better projects I've seen in the city, the Villas, right here. Do you know how long it was before one retail store opened?
No.
6 years.
But the answer is we need more housing in the downtown.
What was
I'm just.
What real estate taxes did they create as a result of? Forget the job. What real estate taxes did they create on that site? You said we're getting a $20 million tax credit.
My point, sir, is that it doesn't necessarily create what you're saying it does in reality.
It certainly creates the real estate taxes.
Creates the real estate.
I'll tell you, Tom, my mother lives in that site and she's
But
in
I
every
just wanna say
restaurant
something.
every night down there spending money.
I just want to address something you said, Mr. Weinstein. The duration of a tax abatement depends very much on the size of the project. Do you agree with that?
I think it's based on the need of the project.
Well,
I mean, Riverhead, gave got a 40-year tax abatement. I don't know why they did that. So, on not very big projects, Dave Gallo's project of 100 units in the town. So I don't know that that's true.
Well, I think it is.
Okay.
And this project, in terms of dollars and cents, is not a very big project. It's $12.5 million. So,
Of cost.
of course. So I'm not sure that a 15-year pilot warrants that.
Well, let me ask you this,
Okay.
Tom, and members of the board, is there something else you could possibly shorten the pilot and try and rework it so that it could work somehow to get to a shorter term? That's something the board could come back and have you guys consider? Because we really want to do this, I mean, he's so invested, we're also invested in this, we want to get it done. 15 years is an issue, you know, there's ways to make a 10-year work, I'm not speaking for you, but there's ways.
So 10 plus 2, control, 12. You voted no, almost unanimously, even though it passed unanimously in the preliminary inducement. So I'm not exactly sure what happened in that time frame. However, yeah, I don't, we don't want to go home. We think it is an opportunity for the city, despite whatever you may think about it. Small or not small, it's definitely a benefit. And it's only a half an acre site, so we tried to come in there with more units, and we didn't make any headway with that. But I think you are going to add housing stock to the city, beautify that piece of property, and give a little bit of benefit to the senior center, which they could do.
So this is totally in your discretion, this whole thing. So, you know, obviously, you know, my pitch to you is, you know, if we remain open to maybe we shorten it 10 years and rework the kind of rims and come back to you in short order and see it's something that could work for the project. I don't know if it can, you know, but obviously, you know, you're putting equity, it's already
Well,
been.
no pilot doesn't work. Some pilot, or maybe a different, maybe 15 years with a different increase schedule over that period of time may work better, so you realize the taxes sooner. If that's open for discussion, but right now, you know, I don't know if you count 4 to 1, but you know, we're.
So part of this is the sales tax and the mortgage reporting tax.
Well, sales tax,
Dan, to your question, and I'm speaking for myself, not the board, I would be open to listening to a restructuring of the pilot.
Okay. Does everyone else feel the same way? It's not my role to put you on the spot.
well, let me just, the mayor asked the question. Sales tax is critical. Sales tax benefit. Mortgage recording tax, if I need to get that up, if that's a benefit to the city that we gave up, I think that that's certainly within the realm. Sales tax is pretty expensive, and I think really, I'm not sure what the city's benefit is of collecting additional sales taxes, and it does pretty much.
The city doesn't get any part
We
of it.
don't, it doesn't do anything.
But it does help the project. Right, exactly. So it does help the project reduce the cost. Like mortgage recording tax is, you know, tens of thousands of dollars, but that's better than nothing, certainly. And my preference would be, if you'd like to see a retooling of the pilot, my preference would be to ask your consultants to prepare something that you think might be acceptable to you. We'll run it with our lenders and see if that helps. Again, $10,800 or thereabouts. That's today, not trended to what it may be.
That's full tax.
2 years ago.
Just, you know, let's talk about
Yeah,
that.
that's
That's full taxes per unit on an apartment. Very difficult to make that. And by the way, I forgot to mention, and no impact on your services, the school district. We are having 0, maybe 1 or 2 children anecdotally wind up in these, you know, the studios and one
We
bedroom.
pay for our own garbage, right?
Yes,
So,
so
which is,
very little impact to the city except positive impact from what we bring. Yes, it is only 1 permanent job. Maybe it's 2 permanent jobs. But the managing agent who manages this has people in their office. It's a local, it could be a local managing office. It has bookkeepers and other people that come and service the project. So it is accretive to whatever currently uses to the city. So a denial is a death knell, whatever happens from that.
so where we are right now.
Well, Mr., just to address what Mr. Weinstein said,
Yes.
I don't want to get my consultants involved. I would rather you bring a restructuring to us.
Okay.
If that's how the board feels.
Yeah, I think, to that point, we brought it up before, like, the consultant's numbers seemed very loose to me. It didn't seem like it was even doable with a pilot, to be quite honest. So that is like my hesitation in addition to what it creates afterwards. So if you guys could come up with a full plan, like, if you give us this is what we're gonna make, this is what's gonna adjust, like, I think that would give us more comfort and possibly restructure.
Can you just explain that to me a little bit?
Like,
Just when you said,
like from your-
what it can make, because we gave you our cash flow analysis, you asked for our cash flow analysis, pre-year 3, we gave it to you, our 10-year cash flow analysis, so you can see what that is. So the project does work. Our lender will underwrite it so that it does work clearly. The city's not gonna get this piece of property back. So I'm just not clear what you'd like me to show.
We don't own the property.
No.
We don't own it.
So I think, let's take what you said, so we're gonna rework pilot, putting it down to a shorter term in 15 years. And the only, I would also ask, I really appreciate if you're willing to reconsider, look at something different, but is that we just keep this on a tight time frame, because we have a time of the essence closure.
You must have read my mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's get this
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
So it's up to you.
What's the process by which we would create a new pilot and submit it?
Well, we would do that internally. I don't do that.
If you
Well, I know you who, how do we keep it
So
on?
it sounds like it's gonna deviate though from the UTEP.
It may or
because-
may not deviate from the UTEP. If it deviates from the UTEP, then we need to hold we need to give notice.
Well, it's gonna be
to the
short.
executive. If it's
But that may
shorter.
still be a deviation depending on the UTEP.
Yeah,
Okay,
you know what,
okay.
before you go too far, show me what you think you're gonna propose going to pilot. You and I can talk about whether or not it's a deviation. For time purposes, not having it deviate would be a good thing, but let's take a look at that.
Yeah, so anything we do, we'll submit to Millen and Ann to look at first before the chair's reviewing it. Once you guys think it's in presentable form, I agree, we don't want to close in additional legal steps, but.
Is there any other benefit while you're discussing this that the applicant could do with this project to make it more community beneficial or to make it more palatable?
Like, we need to see more heads benefit jobs, something on the backside of it, when it's done, really, really getting, like, let's really dig into that.
So what I would say is, and I know, one of the issues I always have with ideas all over is that, and really, if you guys disagree with your own consultants, you should really call them out on it, because these are not our consultants. So you also have MRB, which is an economic impact company who you guys hired. We had to pay for them, but you guys hired them, and they came to conclusions. What are they? This is creating 8 jobs. So the spending power of the 29 residents who are going to be there, going to create 8 jobs in Glen Cove as a result of their spending that they do. Those are called indirect jobs. It's an economic development thing. So, in addition to the one person who's going to be taking care of the place, there's those jobs.
But there are other people behind the scenes who take care of
Yeah.
it, people who send the buildings out, people who, who fix the roof. There are people who are still involved in it, although they're not full-time employees.
And we went through a very long planning process. I think Mr. Scott was the chairman for a large part of it, where there was a lot of changes to this project and we're trying to, so that the community invites us. So I think we should take this right now.
You can estimate part-time jobs, as you know, to equal full-time equivalents post-project completion. So you should be including those management jobs and those other jobs that are directly related to the project as part-time that could then equal other full-time equivalents. You have to take a look at that.
I mean, it's just a 29-unit apartment, so it doesn't provide any jobs. Just one guy taking care of it.
All right, so if you're not gonna have anyone else
You
behind the
talked about
scenes.
having local people, I would hope plow, local people with, what are the other local job opportunities
Construction
and
jobs,
businesses?
plumbers,
But those are short term, what are the longer term jobs, just as we look at?
retail. Yeah, I think it goes to the benefit of the downtown. Mr. Scott mentioned something previously.
I'm sorry, I have a very important meeting that I have to go to. Please
So you're
submit the
welcome to set up.
restructuring and let's get this done.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks. I think that, while he said that he's yet to see anecdotally new jobs created as a result of this big project here, the question is, what economic benefit did they provide to the existing? Maybe they're helping support businesses that might otherwise have gone out of business. I don't know.
Well, anecdotally, I said, my mother lives there, and she goes to dinner, and she knows every restaurant person here, and spends money in there every night.
Did I recall correctly that in one iteration of this project, you did a retail? But
Correct.
the planning board dissuaded you from doing that.
I think that's the case.
Well, I think the planning board was not interested in more retail downtown, and I think that it was a smaller project because with a retail component, we had to change our parking component.
Right.
And that's certainly, that as of right application with a retail component would not have permitted any parking for the senior center because we did all of it to meet the parking code, that's currently in the city, in the village. So,
And that would have been more employment, but for the reason you just,
yes,
mentioned.
so it's an interesting point that you're making, perhaps indirectly, is that the exchange of not having that more employment then does create the opportunity for greater parking. First of all, for our residents off the street, which helps the street traffic, and also it does solve some problem. As I said in my letter, it doesn't solve the overall problem of the senior center, but it's the best that we can do, and it is in perpetuity. It will never go away. As long as the
And
senior
that's
center-
something this IDA would be delivering, because there's no legal requirement as we sit here today to do that.
Correct. Just to cover our bases, I also recall that at one point the project was much more affordable, but at that level, I believe it was much more dense. Is that correct? I see
Yes.
Cliff shaking his head because I know that that's something else that the board looks at is affordability and percentage of affordability and everything else. But I remember this project being more affordable at an earlier date, but I remember it being denser.
It was a higher density, yes.
Okay,
That is
so
true.
that was the exchange there, then if, in order for it to be an affordable project, it had to be at a denser.
Right, because you need, because the market rate units really subsidize the affordable units. Particularly, the 80%ers or the ones that are low. In
would
certain
it be
communities.
helpful to the board if I redistribute the MRB report that Dan has mentioned a couple times, which talks more about the indirect employment and the overall benefits. I think that we've given you the Grow America analysis, and they're the ones that came up with the pilot. What I think you've probably not seen or looked at recently was the MRB report that Dan's mentioned. So in this interim, I will redistribute
And
that.
what I can add to that is the letter that we submitted summarizes the
That was
MRB
distributed to the
report.
board.
Yeah.
And so
Yes, that's
at the summary benefits where I listed 6 items or so, that's where you see beside the job, I understand your concern about the jobs, is that's where the economic growth comes from as a result of this job.
I think all the points that were made tonight by the applicant and your attorney were covered in that summary letter that was distributed to the board.
So I think where we are now is that we're going to put together an alternate pilot proposal that's less, smaller, and then also show you guys how we feel that can work through our 10-year performer. And
I'd have to ask you legally, does it help us if they just table this as opposed to?
well, I guess I would say, no, is it still open
We
to?
already, it's already voted.
Yeah.
No, it's already, but we don't have to renotice everything.
Don't have to renotice anything, there's no deviations.
Right, it depends on the
That would be
pilot
my
So
schedule.
we can bring it up,
We're
at the next meeting.
If we got to a place that everyone's good, it can be voted on at that night.
Yes,
It doesn't deviate, yeah.
It's not going to change the jobs, but what it will change is the period of time under which you won't be getting full taxes. So maybe that time frame helps you, realize your goals, which is more taxes, in addition to the benefits. So that, if the board is open to that concept,
And
that's really what we're talking about. Shortening up the time frame of the pilot so that you get the full taxes sooner. That's the concept.
That's what I heard from Mr. Scott. That's what he was looking for. All right,
Okay, thank you.
thank you, guys. This is a good discussion.
So
So the new business item, Garvey's Point, ask for request for IDA consent, that is not obviously up for resolution tonight. Millen, feel free to add to this. We have a draft regulatory agreement, with an affordability plan, we have a draft creditor agreement. I believe you have submitted those, Millen, to the Garvey's Point trustee for review.
that is correct.
And do you feel that we will be ready that first week of April meeting to come to resolution with the board on those matters?
Yes, we should be.
Because our last meeting of the month is when we do the ABO reports and we do, the goals and accomplishments, and it's a lot of housekeeping matters. And we also have 2 meetings on that night, it's a Thursday. I know, it's a CDA and IDA Thursday, the 27th. So that, and then I know that there's a youth bureau dinner that night, so I would suggest, and I have suggested this to the applicant, George Green Ventures, that we push off that matter, since we're not doing it tonight, to the April 8th. And Dylan, you feel that we should be in a good
Is he okay with that? George, you agree?
I'm asking it.
Is Dave Gallo okay with that?
We have not discussed anything otherwise, but I guess, Millen, do you feel from a document standpoint we are there?
Yes, we should be. I
Okay.
made one comment to the regulatory agreement that you and I discussed. They said that's fine. Hopefully I'll have a word from the trustee, and so the answer is yes, we should be.
Okay. Very good. I don't have any other updates at this time.
So that was it, right?
Yes. I don't think we need executive session right now.
So if there's no further business, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting, and I ask for a second.
Second.
Motion second by Dennis Hartley. Once again, the secretary, please poll the board.
Lisa Kravitz,
Aye.
Dave Jimenez.
Aye.
Jim Capiello.
Aye.
Vice Chair Hartley.
Aye.
And Chairperson Hanson.
I vote aye. It is, meeting is closed at, just turn my shield. Motion carried, the meeting is adjourned at 6:07 PM.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sheila, we